Hello, and welcome back to the WABAN podcast. I'm your host, Nim, and I am joined here by white-haired Samuel L. Jackson.
Do you have any reason why they gave him white hair? Like, is it just to make him look older?
I don't know. I think it was just to give him a distinct feature. Something different, I guess. I don't know.
Because, I don't think I've ever seen, an older African-American individual with white hair.
Yeah, I think I think it's just for, to make it stand out, I guess. To make him stand out, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, he's already Samuel L. Jackson. How much more does he need to stand out?
Yep. It's true. Honestly, I was kind of excited when I found out Samuel L. Jackson was the villain. But, not gonna lie, he's kind of a boring character.
Yeah.
He's just,
I fully expected them to be my family was killed by jumpers or something like that, but no, they just left us.
It's just Samuel L. Jackson saying, "I hate jumpers" a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I hate jumpers. That seems to be one main issue that I had with the movie was there's a lot of just lines or whatever that just tell the audience things oddly, where you're yeah, you didn't have to say that. The guy's I hate jumpers. And it's
You could have showed that instead of telling that.
But they did show that, so they didn't need to tell. I can tell you hate jumpers. It's it's pretty obvious. You hunt them down to kill them. That's your thing.
Yeah, chances are you hate them.
That's just such a corny line that's so weird. And it's okay. And at the beginning of the movie, there was I don't know how I feel so at the beginning of the movie there was narration by the main character.
Right.
The narration only lasted until he grew up and got older. Up to the
present.
Yeah. So it didn't last for the whole movie. But I don't know how I feel about the narration. I feel it wasn't the best narration. I don't know.
Here, we haven't introduced the movie at all yet, so...
Yeah. Okay, so the movie we watched was Jumper, which was suggested to us by Donnie, our last guest we had.
It's an amazing last name.
Donnie Shields, yep.
Yeah, that's a great last name.
I think you said that on the last episode. You're
yeah, that's why I'm mentioning it now, because that's cool as hell. Yeah,
well... I hope he listens to it and knows how much you appreciate his last name. Yeah, so this movie Jumper, basically the concept of the movie is this guy, when he's 15, finds out that he has the ability to teleport and doesn't know why, and he leaves his life behind and starts a new life with his ability to teleport, fueled by him robbing banks, using his teleportation to rob banks and stuff.
I don't know, it's kind of a 15-year-old kid that found out he had superpowers. Yeah, that is a major possibility that would happen.
Yeah, his narration even says that. His narration's I was 15. What'd you think I would do or whatever? I don't know. I'm
there's two possibilities. Are you become a villain or you become a superhero? Pick one.
Yeah. Or neither. Or just,
chill.
Use it for fun.
No 15-year-old would just chill with that. They'd do some crazy stuff, and they'd become either one of those.
Possibly, yeah. I don't know. I think the ability to teleport would be pretty cool. But
this actually does it reminded me of a moment, and me mentioning that you'd either become a villain or a hero. It reminded me of a moment in the movie that showed that. because he, like, when they first caught up to the present and he was older, he saw like news of, it'd take a miracle to get to these people in this flood to save them, and he just walked out of the house and did his own thing.
I thought they were gearing up for him I thought they were going to show a scene of him going and saving those people, but they didn't. He just keeps going. I was like, oh, I thought that's what they were going to do.
It was such a like here, this is the plot of the movie. Psych.
Yeah. I don't know. It was interesting. But so eventually, he sort of like creates a life of like doing whatever he wants, going wherever he wants, as you would do, obviously.
He has like a closet in his apartment. Like a walk-in closet of his apartment that he has just set up all the different kinds of currency throughout the world, so we can just take a stack and teleport.
Yeah. Which that would actually be pretty cool.
But. Yeah, it is pretty baller, but.
So the one time he comes back to his apartment, he gets attacked
by Samuel L. Jackson,
white-haired. Samuel L. Jackson with white hair. And he's just the whole time saying things like, I hate your kind, and you whatever, I don't know.
You're gonna turn like they all do.
Yeah.
Honestly, the entirety of the movie, it's not like, as far as I can tell, it's not really like lacking anything. Like everything is there. It just all could have been done better.
Yeah. I think one of my main issues with it too is like, I feel like there could have been more like explanation of the world. Like there's not enough like, I don't know, like they just they introduce the conflict and then just kind of go with it. And then you're like, okay,
the extent that the Paladins is they're an organized thing that hunts jumpers and other things. And that's it.
Yeah. And like, there's no explanation of like, I don't know, like
why.
Yeah, it's just kind of, they hate jumpers. Well, and then there's like the scene at the end where he like meets his mom, who's a paladin, and it's like, there's no explanation like, why is she a paladin? Why does she continue being if her son was a jumper? Does she hate jumpers, but not him?
I don't know.
But like, it was just confusing.
Yeah, like
it seemed to me like they were trying to set up sequels though, whereas it's like she's like, well, if you're a paladin, aren't you going to hunt me? And she's like, I'll give you a head start. And then like he leaves or whatever. And I'm like, oh, it's like, it just seemed like they wanted to set up a franchise, which obviously never happened.
Didn't happen, yeah.
Because I don't think anybody really watched this movie. I don't think it was very popular.
It's the first time I heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard of it before, and I think I knew generally what it was, but I've never, seen it until now. I also don't know if they did a great job at establishing the girlfriend character.
Oh, not at all.
Like, she just, like, so at the beginning, it's not bad. It's like, whatever. She's, like, a childhood friend that he liked in high school or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm assuming she was his girlfriend in high school, I guess. It didn't say specifically. Or, like, at least.
More would have been, like, just, like, high school crush and, like, neither of them.
They were at least good friends. Yeah, they were at least good friends. Because when he leaves, he, like, was frozen under ice. And they thought that he's, like, because he fell in the river. Icy river. Right, and they thought he died. And so but he never, like, came back or anything. So, okay, that was one thing that was really weird. So it's like, everybody thinks he's dead, whatever. Okay. And then he shows up at the bar that she works at, like, years later. I don't know how many years it was. It said
and everyone
was.
Just accepts that he's
She's just
alive.
Like, oh, you're back. Huh, okay. No, like, what the hell happened?
How did you survive? Why didn't you come back?
the reaction didn't even seem that like her reaction was just kind of like, oh my gosh, you're back, that's awesome, and that's about it. It wasn't like there was no, I don't know, it was just really
it was so
it was just so
weird.
weird and not
They
like what
glossed over so many details like that.
And then they're like, oh, let's go to Rome, and then they're in Rome, and I'm like, oh, so now they're just going on a vacation together, they haven't seen each other in years, like it's just okay.
You thought, like, none of them questioned it, like the bully character, like he was like shocked and
you're just like, hey, it's like, you. It's like, what?
But neither of them are like,
thought he was dead.
Yeah.
And you suddenly see him. Like, how?
Maybe ask, how did you survive? What happened? Why didn't you come back and tell us that you were alive?
Yeah, where have you been?
Mm-hmm. And like the girlfriend did like see the snow globe, and so like she, assumed that he was alive. But that answers only one of those questions.
Nothing can answer the how.
Mm-hmm. Or why haven't I seen you in, 10, 15 years?
Yeah, why didn't you come back or anything? Like, I don't know. It's just... And the thing is, as an audience member, I don't even really know why he never came back until now.
I think he was just like in like a bad family scenario.
Yeah, but like, it just seems weird that he never even went back to like friends, like clearly he really liked her and like would have wanted to keep, like he decided to wait till now. Like, it's weird that like, okay, so he gets attacked by Samuel L. Jackson and then he's like, you know what? I'm going to go home and see my old friends. Like, wait, why did that suddenly make you want to go back? It was just really weird.
Like, you'd think you'd do that before to like raise the stakes and then get attacked.
Yeah, like something, I don't know, it just seemed weird.
Yeah.
And again, like they just suddenly were like, yep, let's go on a vacation to Rome together. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. She was just like, yeah, there's this random guy that I happen to recognize from high school, and he disappeared for a while. Let's go to a foreign country with him. What?
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, it was so weird.
I don't recommend that. That's dangerous.
Clearly. And then, like...
And he refuses to go into details about his job or anything like that, or how he has, like, these really expensive apartments.
I don't know why he didn't just, like, be like, you know what, I can teleport. Yeah, here, show her. Like,
yeah, that's
he had no reason not to tell her.
Well, like...
Really? Because, like, he didn't know about like what jumpers were or anything, so like he had no, as far as he knew, there was no reason not to tell her. So why wouldn't he have just been like, hey, check it out?
Maybe it was because he just got attacked for being one, and they had a name for him. So
that's true, that could be, yeah. But I don't know, it's just I just feel like the plot could have been put together better. But yeah, no, her character is not that interesting. She's just kind of there.
Basically one-dimensional.
Yeah, she's the basic, like, basically just there to raise the stakes in the third act. Like, that's the only, because in the third act, he's, like, trying to save her and stuff. That's the only reason her character really exists.
Her
There's not much more than that.
Of... She is the female lead who is the, romantic interest of the male lead.
Yeah. Like, honestly, it got to the end.
In distress.
Yeah, it got to the end, and the one guy was like, let's blow it up. And he's like, no, she's in there, whatever. And I was like, honestly, just do it. I don't care about her. Like, whatever. Who cares?
There's
not much of a loss.
This movie has given me no reason to value this character, so, hit the button. Let's do it.
Although, that scene was kind of cool, though, where, like, him and the other jumper were, like, he was chasing him through jumps. Like, they were jumping around the world.
That's so cool.
That is a
jumper
cool...
fights are awesome, yeah.
Yeah, that is a cool idea, which, like...
Or, like... Okay, what was it? Samuel L. Jackson, invades their lair.
Yeah.
And he runs out. Samuel L. Jackson's, like, stumbling on the ground from, like, getting, like, jumper punched or whatever that was from, like, the shockwave that it creates. He gets on an ATV, drives away, and, like, in mid-jump just jumps away. So I have no idea where he went.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just summons a double-decker bus to just careen through a portal like to hit Samuel L. Jackson. Like, that's cool. That is like, because he just teleported away, not to run like you thought, just to look for something big enough to land on him to kill him. Which is, I don't know, I really like that idea.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that.
Like, here, 1 second, I need to find a big enough thing to beat you with.
Yeah. Okay, there's one thing I was confused on, though.
Yeah.
So, like, I really don't understand why the main character didn't just kill the villain at the end. I feel like
it was this whole thing about, proving to him that he wasn't gonna turn bad like the others.
I guess so. Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Because
I don't know.
He was
it just
constantly saying, like, they always turn bad. They always go and start killing people. Like, but maybe I'm different.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Because, like, he just left him in, like, the Grand Canyon. Like, I'm like, he's just going to get out of there and then keep hunting you down. So, probably continuing to try to kidnap your girlfriend, too. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, he definitely left a loose end. But also,
but again,
he proved a point, also.
Like I said before, though, they're probably trying to set it up for sequels.
Yeah.
I definitely got, like, we're trying to set up a franchise kind of vibes from this movie.
Mm-hmm. I do like the other Jumper's character, though, because he's just, like, such a, like, intense and, he's not necessarily crazy, but he's, like, just, I don't care. I've already lost everything.
He's
I can do whatever
jaded.
I want. Yeah.
That's a good word for it, yeah.
Like, jaded in, like, consequence, kind of.
Yeah.
His viewpoint of consequences. But, like, he's just trying to have fun and be, wacky teleporting guy.
It's like, yep, I'm just going to go kill paladins. Woo.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go.
Or, like, when he was playing a video game and talking to the corpse, or maybe he was knocked out or something.
That's right. I think it probably was a corpse, because it was probably a paladin that he killed.
Well, yeah, it was.
But I'm guessing
brought
that
it in from the Colosseum scene.
Yeah, I'm guessing his character died at the end, because he was left. He left him in, like, the thing electrocuting.
Yeah, which that's a whole nother thing. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure, like, no, I guess that wouldn't make quite a lot of sense, would it? Do you think the entirety of those metal structures are electrified?
I really don't know.
Or is it just like the wires and then some connecting bits?
I don't know. I'm an idiot, so I don't know.
Because, like, they're all metal, so you'd think it'd go through the entirety of the metal.
Yeah.
But also maybe there's, like, a stopgap on parts and they just used metal because they needed a strong material to hold it up.
Yeah, I don't know. That could be.
But my thought process was that if they're entirely electrified, him just teleporting up there to stand on it and shove him into it would shock him too.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's, it's interesting.
Not to mention, Jumpers must have, like, a really high electricity tolerance for him to not just, like, be immediately fried in that.
Yeah, they seem to. I'm guessing they do. I don't know, like,
because like it disrupts their like they get hurt and it disrupts their jumping. But also those towers are, like, extremely high voltage. Like, that's why they're all the way up in the air like that, and it's AC current. So, like, if you touched one of those, you die. You die and you get fried and you know.
Yeah, whereas he was, like, sitting there getting shocked over and over again by it and still just talking to him. Just like, you shouldn't leave me here. Yeah, I don't know. I was interested in seeing, like, seeing it too because Hayden Christensen is in it, and like the only thing I've ever seen him in is the Star Wars prequels.
Who was he in
The main
there?
character.
Oh, he was the main character, okay.
Yeah. So I was interested in seeing,
he did
like,
kind of look like Anakin, didn't he?
Yeah, because he is Anakin.
Yeah.
Because I was intrigued because, like, I feel like, so with the prequels, a lot of people have criticized his acting in the prequels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of people have said, like, oh, it's, he's not a bad actor. A lot of it was just the
Bad writing.
Bad writing and the directing as well, like how he was directed. Because, as an actor, you have to put a lot of trust in your how the director tells you to do things or like whatever. So I was intrigued to see, like, I was like, okay, so let me see him acting in a different movie and see like how his acting is. I was curious. And as far as I could tell, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like anything special, but it was.
This probably also isn't the best example.
Well, yeah, I feel like that character doesn't need a lot of heavy acting like skills. I don't know. It's just it's a pretty simple movie, I think. He's
pretty much a casual guy for the most part. Like, he gets intense in the intense moments, but
yeah, he's just a guy who wants to live his life. That's pretty much his character.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to live my life and be with this woman. That's
honestly the most, like, yeah, how'd I put it? Filled in and, brought to life and realized character is the other Jumper, or maybe his dad.
Yeah,
like,
I feel
his
like
dad doesn't get enough screen time for you to actually appreciate it.
Yeah, but it's like a well done character for what you do get. Like, there's the scene where he comes back and he's in his room, like, and his dad's trying to talk crazy. To him. Yeah. No, he had some good acting moments there. I think my least favorite character in the movie is the girlfriend, though. Like,
yeah, she's just there as a plot point, and that's it. Not as a character.
Yeah, they didn't do a good job at building up their, like, relationship to where you care about it. Because, like, the whole idea is that the third act, the main sort of thing that's at stake is, like, her, right? And him just trying to save her. Like, so in order for that to work, you have to really care about the character, I think. Yeah. And I don't know, I just really didn't.
Well, it was basically like, the emotional, like, value has already happened before the movie starts.
But yes, but like, you have to show that, or like, I don't know, establish it better, I guess.
It doesn't work in the way that they did it with a movie.
Yeah, I also think a lot of the movie is very quick pacing. They just kind of like do that thing where they kind of move from one thing to the next without really giving a lot of breathing room for things. Similar to how The Last Airbender is, but not quite as bad.
Oh, right.
Like, the whole idea of,
they didn't do the cutaway, a little bit of narration of this happened and then cut back.
No, not as bad. But like the same general concept of, like, oh, they just kind of skip through the plot without giving it a lot of breathing. Like, and the movie's only like an hour and a half long, so it's like, maybe it could have stood to be like another 15 minutes or something, just to kind of flesh things out a little bit more. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Like, we mentioned it before, he just got attacked. Let's go visit my, high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
Where's the connection?
Well, yeah, he gets attacked, and you're like, suddenly like, oh, here the conflict's being brought in. And then they just kind of ignore the conflict for a little bit. They're just kind of like, he just gets attacked, and that's just completely ignored for a little bit. He goes, meets up with his his old high school friend. They go to Rome together. They're in Rome for a while, and then they bring the conflict back, and you're like, oh, okay, so we just kind of like ignored it to establish the girlfriend for a little bit. Okay,
it was weird. Like, I don't know, I guess him going and doing that, he like got into a fight with the bully character and like teleported into the vault.
Mm-hmm.
And so that like left a breadcrumb for the enemy to find him.
Yeah.
So like, that's kind of a plot point, but it wasn't
By the way, the main character is kind of dumb. Like, why did he just leave? Why did he just teleport that guy there and just leave him in the vault? Like, what was the
That is like guaranteed for someone to find him. Guaranteed for them to like take him in,
trace it back to him.
Yeah. Like after they just established that someone is out to get him.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't think he's a very strong protagonist. Like he's just kind of.
He just goes and does what he wants, and then someone tried to get in the way, and he didn't think about the consequences of what he was doing, even when there was someone after him. And he just, let's just remove these people that are trying to kill me, and then I'll go back to doing what I was doing before, which got those people to attack me.
And he knows there's more of them out there too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like. Well, and the main one who's after him is still alive too. So like, they're not going to stop going after him. So he's just kind of like, it's just weird. I don't know.
There wasn't really a resolution.
Yeah, there really wasn't. It was like, because it was just, I got to save my girlfriend. Mm-hmm. He does. And it's like,
okay.
And there you go. You didn't defeat the villain. You didn't like. Again, I think it's that whole like trying to set up a franchise thing where they're like, "This is just the introduction," but like,
it wasn't.
You still, even if you're planning on doing more movies in a series, you still should make that movie in and of itself like a good. The first movie, at least, a good standalone movie, like
definitely.
With a satisfying conclusion and stuff, or something. I don't know. And I think the whole plot point of like his mom being one of the paladins is kind of weird to me.
And it wasn't even well done because his mom disappeared. Oh, he saw his mom there. Why did he see his mom there? And it's like you're thinking about it and like maybe she's a jumper too. I don't know. Yeah. Is that how she got there?
Yeah.
And then they just revealed it as like a afterthought in the end.
Yeah, it was like, just
they don't give you time to care.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. It was just, which again I think is down to that whole it's introducing sequels or something, which is just. Mm-hmm. But it creates this really underdeveloped plot point that's just there.
Yeah.
And never feels like, it never really goes anywhere. Except for that scene at the end, he just goes to talk to her and he's like, "Hey, why'd you leave?" "I'm a paladin." "Oh, no. And I found out that you were a jumper, so I left." Okay. Yeah.
Hello. I am back. My headset died for a second.
Oh, geez. Okay. Wow. Yeah.
So whatever you were saying for the past, 20 seconds, I didn't get.
Yeah. Nothing really that important.
Okay. So. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other major things I want to say about the movie.
I mean, like I said, it's all there. There's a romantic interest, there's a main character, there's, a big bad conflict with a whole, looming organization of them. There's, a tie-in with the main character, with the mother. There's, growth from, the father, from, going crazy from how he lost his son. And Samuel L. Jackson coming in and interrogating him and just going, yeah, I won't tell you anything. Just straight to his face. Like, it's all there.
Yeah.
None of it's well done, though.
I think that's the problem is like this honestly has like the potential to be a good movie, to be like a pretty good movie. And I really like the concept, generally speaking, but it didn't come together quite well enough.
It's like when you make a D&D character and you want to make them good at everything, but by trying to do that, you just make them mediocre at everything.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's, I think, yeah, no, my favorite character was probably the other jumper. I forget his name, definitely.
But. So do I. I remember he had an Irish accent.
Yeah, he was Irish. That's what I remember.
For some reason, I really like Irish accents. Don't know why. Yeah. They're weird and, they're not really portrayed a lot, but I still like them.
Yeah, he just seemed to be the most interesting character because, like, you could tell there was, like, interesting backstory there.
Yeah. And there was like a looming backstory to him that they didn't really get into. He was I'm interested in that. What is it? I want to poke it.
Like, his parents died when he was, like, 5 or something like that, I think. I don't remember exactly. But, like, and the way he's played, like, he's, throughout a lot of it, he's just really, like, jokey, just kind of like seems like he's just having fun, whatever. But there's also like a dark side to him as well. There's also like you can also kind of see like there's an emotional side behind that where he's like, he actually also takes all of this stuff really seriously at the same time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an interesting thing.
I really like the moment where you're living in a cave. It's called a lair. This lair of his has, like, who he's hunting down and, like, all of that junk and all his plans and weapons and tools to utilize to hunt these people down. And he's still just like, no, it's my lair, child.
Yes. Yeah, he almost has that sort of, like, child in an adult's body kind of thing,
Yeah.
Where it's like, which might be because he like was never fully like raised after his parents died, like fully raised to be an adult kind of. So maybe he's still in that like somewhat childish like mindset,
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of when you think about it, it makes sense. Because like a lot of times when people go through like a hardship like that in movies or in real life or in any sort of media, they're portrayed and they become like they're forced to become more mature faster. But in this, because he's a jumper and he can just go anywhere and he doesn't have to make money, he doesn't have to get a job, he doesn't have to worry about anything, because he can just be wherever he wants in an instant.
Yeah.
He didn't have that, so it kind of like skewed it a little bit to like mature in some aspects, but really not in others.
Yeah. He was definitely my favorite character. I don't know. I think there's good elements in this movie. I just think it didn't all come together is the main thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And honestly, like, I think it's like we're only like 33 minutes in here, and like I don't really know if I have a lot more to say. I think that was like the first thing I thought when I first watched the movie. I was like, how long are we going to be able to spend talking about this? Like, I just kind of felt like that. Like, there's just not a lot. Like, it's a simple plot. I don't have a lot to say about it, and
all the characters are pretty simple.
Yeah. I guess I could say, what was I? I was saying something about the narration earlier about how I don't know if the narration was done well at the beginning.
Yeah.
To me, the narration felt very like it was like, oh, I'm just going to use the narration to tell you the information that we don't want to show you, kind of thing.
Yeah, cop out.
Right. It felt. I mean, it wasn't bad. There's definitely worse narration. I've heard
Yeah,
worse narration, but it's nowhere near as good as like, you know, because like proper narration in movies is like Fight Club. You know, that's like how to do it
right.
right, because it like adds something. It's not
Hmm.
just there just to give the
Inform
audience
you.
information. Right? It
Yeah.
actually adds interest and might even
It,
confuse you more at certain points, you know,
hmm.
like, um,
Yeah, in Fight Club, it was like his inner monologue all the time. So like you see what's happening, and then you hear what he's thinking about it the entire time.
yeah, it was less
So it
of
adds a
like,
layer.
it really like I can't imagine that movie without the narration. Like it
Oh,
really,
that'd be so weird because so many of the scenes rely so heavily on the narration.
right. Which seems weird that you to rely on heavily on narration in a movie because you think, oh, you shouldn't have to, but like the way the movie's done, it's like, you know, it's
It's
very,
required.
yeah, it really is, and it actually makes it more interesting. And though it's so well written too,
Mm.
that it's like it's really interesting stuff.
It's like
But no,
I've never mentioned this, and we've never talked about it. But there's always a line that's like, "I am this person's like a name's
it was.
like broken
I think
heart or
I think it's
whatever
like
emotion."
Jax. Was it Jax? I am. Yeah, yeah. It's like I am
Why
Jax. Whatever.
is Jack his name? Who's he
No,
referencing?
there's
What is?
there's a moment in the movie, but so he doesn't start doing that until after this moment. There's a moment in the movie where they're like in the house. It's, you know, it's like an old abandoned house that they live in or whatever, and
Mhm.
he found like a bunch of like this old like book or whatever for like kids. It was like it's like how this book. It's like supposed to teach kids about like medical stuff or something, like, oh, and listen to this. It says, I am Jax, and it was some body part thing or whatever. I'm Jax,
Yeah.
whatever. And then so that actually happens. Like he's talking to Tyler about that, and then he continues to use it in the rest of the movie, like in his narration.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
that's a weird detail, and I never understood why.
it's easy to miss, I think, but like I've
Mhm.
watched the movie multiple times at this point, so like
Multiple
I
times. You're
know
afraid to say how many.
it's probably only like five or so.
Sure,
It's
it
not that
is. You have
much.
a problem.
I'm pretty sure it is. I have a problem.
You have a Fight Club addiction.
No, I have an Avatar addiction though.
True.
I just recently finished watching it my fifth time, and yeah,
Fifth.
yeah.
Hmm.
And for my first time was last fall.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, I don't know. The narration in this movie, back to Jumper, I
Right.
just felt was boring. I don't know. There was a lot of moments in the movie where there was like lines of dialogue that I didn't like either. Like they were just kind of
Mm,
like weird or awkward or like off. I guess I don't know. It's just not didn't sound good to me.
yeah. I get you.
Well, there's like the one part. So like in the beginning, he finds out that he can like teleport, right, when
Mm,
he's 15, and he's like testing it out, and teleports it into the library like in the middle of the
mm.
night, like back to the same. I think it's probably the same library he teleported to when he teleported out of the
I think,
river.
yeah, it was the exact same spot, and
Yeah,
that library comes up quite a lot.
and he teleports in there. He lands in, and he just goes. He says out loud, he's like, "I'm in the library," and I'm like,
Yeah,
why would you say that
we
out
can
loud?
tell.
No, first off, we could see it. Nobody's in the library with you.
Mm.
Like I can tell. Like I don't know. Like
There was
there's
also the sign that said escape to your library,
yeah,
which is like telling you that right there and then and there.
yeah. I don't know. It's just like there's like little lines like that where it's like, do you need that? Or like I don't know if there is, but I remember there being like lines where somebody says like how they're feeling about something. They just say it instead of like you being able to see it in their face kind of thing, you know, like see it in their acting. And I don't know, moments like that in movies are always just weird when somebody says like, I hate this, or I hate what's going, oh, this, you know, whatever. Like, it's just weird because it's like,
just show it. Don't tell me. Show me.
Yeah. Show don't tell. That's the golden rule of filmmaking, right? Is show don't tell. Yeah.
Same with video games. If you can, like, naturally get like your players to figure out the mechanics of the game without actually straight up telling you, that is a gift. That use that.
Yeah, that's probably hard to do as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why I always mention the Portal games to you, because they do it very well.
Yeah, it's like naturally like it's very naturally integrated into the game instead of just being like, well, here's our little tutorial button. Because I feel like that can like take you out of the game, you know, like take you out of the immersion, I guess. You know, if you're just suddenly
really
like,
does. It's terrible.
Here's how to press this button to do this, you know, or whatever.
Or like even worse is when, like, outside of the controls, like just mechanics, like this thing does this and gives you health and blah blah blah. Like, okay, if you just would have showed me the thing, I probably would have messed around with it enough to figure that out myself.
Yeah. I think you also, the thing is, I think a lot of times when they do that, they try to take into account people who aren't big gamers, you know, who are just casual and might not be able to figure it out, you know, I guess is the idea.
That red barrels explode.
Yeah. Yep. Red barrels explode.
Yeah. Red barrels explode in any media. It's always a thing, except in real life, because gasoline is stored so that it's not explosive.
Is that more of a game thing? Because I don't know if it's...
Yeah, it doesn't work in real life.
Yeah, but like a game...
Well, I mean, I've seen other like things that like show, like, you know, danger, you know, like the weird like flammable symbol on barrels, and then they explode in like a movie or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, in real life, they're stored at so that the oxygen content isn't enough to allow them to explode. Because they're sealed, but there's not enough oxygen in them for them to actually be highly flammable.
Look at this.
Yeah. They're smart about it.
Random knowledge with the goodest boy. Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like there's not much more for me to say about this movie. Like,
we're going off on tangents wherever we can.
Yeah, because we're like, let's get this podcast up in time, so it's not super short. And it's weird for us too, because like usually we'll be like 2 hours in and we'll be like, crap, this is longer than it should be. And now
it's like for like, it was kind of for BoJack Horseman the last episode. And then for Avatar and some of the movies, because, you know, we're actually really interested in them and we really like them. But this is kind of like...
We're just kind of like...
It's a decent movie.
We were like, I enjoyed some of it, I guess. You know, it was all right. You know. I am happy that it was free with Amazon Prime.
I hated the ads, though. I even have ad blocker, and it got through my ad blocker.
Oh, yeah, you had to watch ads. There was like 5 or 6 ads throughout the entire movie.
They're all like 2 minutes long, and was jam-packed.
Oh my gosh! Like they were like, I'm sitting here watching the movie, and then all of a sudden an ad starts, and I for a split second I think it's part of the movie. I'm like that was a really abrupt transition. That's weird. Oh wait, no, that's not. Never mind.
They're even in like transition parts of the movie where you can tell like they're about to transition, and then it transitions to a commercial, and you're like, wait, what's happening?
And then you realize, oh wait, it's just an ad.
Why did the video quality get so good all of a sudden?
Yep. I don't know. Strange things. Yeah, it's kind of annoying when they like make you watch ads even for something that's like
Mm-hmm.
like if you pay for like Hulu, for instance, the Hulu plays ads, and you're like, it's like, but I'm
When you
paying
pay
for
for
it.
it?
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. Like it's like I'm paying for Hulu, and you're still showing me ads. What? Why?
That's why I use ad blockers.
Yeah,
But they got through them. I need to advance my ad blockers.
yeah. Well, yeah. I usually just deal with it, but
I mean, I did at first, at least for like on my phone and stuff. But then I was just like, can I find an ad blocker for my phone? And turns out you can.
look at that.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Oh, there's a dog barking in the background. Wow.
Yeah, that's Margot.
Yep. All right. So yeah, we could probably end the podcast now. Honestly,
I mean, unless you have anything particularly interesting you want to talk about.
not really. No, and we could have. It just feels so weird because like I feel like we've gotten so used to them being really long that it's like weird to just stop now. It's like feels like I'm not doing a full episode.
Feels like we're half-assing it.
Because this movie is just there's not a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
It's just
we're not gonna force a conversation on this.
yeah. Teleporting is cool. I wish I could teleport in real life.
Yeah, it's better than flying. Fight me.
It is. Okay.
So much more useful.
There you go. Here, we'll end with that question. If you could choose any superpower, you had a choice of any superpower to have, what would you have?
I mean, if you're doing any, the obvious answer is time travel.
I usually don't go with that. I typically go with the ability to freeze time.
Oh, okay.
Where you can
You don't go broad stuff.
Yeah. Also, I don't know. I feel like time travel just creates a lot of issues.
Well, I mean,
a lot of weird time loops, and I don't know.
said time travel thinking of not necessarily going back or forward, but even pausing it, slowing it down, or just stepping outside of time for a moment to just do your own thing.
Yeah, that's more what I go with when I say freezing time is kind of what I'm.
Right.
That's kind of where I lead towards it. Where it's you could kind of so it's you could spend as you don't have a lot of time left for a homework assignment. You can just kind of freeze it and be yeah, I have all the time I want, Or you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I have to go to work real soon, but I want to sleep longer.
Just pause time
freeze,
for
pause
a week.
Time. I'll sleep for as long as I want, and then it would just really make everything better.
People, the only truly limited resource we have is time.
Yes.
So obviously you want to extend that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's always my thought process with that is I think about it and I'm what is the one thing that causes me more stress in my life than anything else?
Is time.
Not having enough time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there you go. There's my superpower. Solve that. Solve my number one most hated issue with life. Solved right there.
Of course, it's also one of those things that's you need to put a lot of details in that power if you want it to come out right. Because what if you age?
Well, yeah. How does the aging work? Yeah, you'd have to. You'd have to put the details in, but
Or what if you can't move anything while time is paused? So, you can't write down anything.
See, I go with the fact that you can. I usually go with the fact that you can move things. I also go with the fact that this is what I usually go with in my head when I think of the powers. You can choose what's paused and what's not. So if you want a person to be with you during the pause, you can make them not paused.
Right.
I always like to think about it, it's
yeah.
I don't know, that's just the way I usually think about it. But
have a bubble around you. There's time. Pausing time causes so many problems unless it's on a global scale. Because it's like, okay, if you have like a radius around you that's paused, what if someone shoots a bullet from outside that radius into that radius? What happens to that bullet when it meets the radius?
Freezes, I guess,
Or
until it's not in that radius anymore.
well, no. Think of it this way: the very first particle of that bullet to enter the radius should pause, right?
Oh.
But all the other particles behind it want to keep going because they're not in that radius. But it can't because time's paused. But that doesn't matter. If time's paused, it probably wouldn't like exert a force on the rest of the bullet, right? So, so many problems.
Probably this bullet would like burst in midair.
Yeah, there'd be
like
as some like quantum like explosion of the particles, just like I don't know what to do. Explode.
Yeah, I feel like that would probably be what it is. Yeah, no. I always find it weird though when people like ask that question of like, what superpower would you have? And people say like fly or being able to turn invisible. I'm like, really? That's
you can't do anything with that. Like
you can, but like it's not like flying would be awesome. I would love to be able to fly, but like freezing time. I mean, that's where it's at.
It's like you could do so much better than that. Like, come on. Like, oh great, you're super fast. Well, I just froze time, so I'm technically faster than you.
So your speed doesn't matter to me. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, it would just solve so many issues in life. And you know what? You could use it to theoretically rob a bank like they do in Jumper, like he does in Jumper. Easily, Depending
on how, like, the details of the power, yeah.
Yeah, probably could. You freeze, you can, like, sneak in anywhere.
I do know in D&D there's a 9th level spell called Time Stop. Problem is you can't do anything in it. You can cast your own spells and all that, but as soon as those spells or you try to interact with something outside of yourself, then it forces the time stop off. So you can't attack anybody. It's literally just like, okay, I need a moment to prepare.
Yeah, okay.
And then you cast a bunch of spells on yourself to prepare for the battle. Or like, you know what, I don't want to be here right now, and you give yourself like 5 or so turns to book it away.
I mean that's still
it's very useful. But it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's definitely like a way that they need to do it in order to not cause a bunch of problems.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But like, it's stopping time. It should be a bit more powerful, probably, right?
Yeah, well, guess not. All right. I think we are about ready to wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well. 52 minutes is pretty good. So, anyways, thank you all for listening to this week's very short episode of WABAN podcast. I know 53 minutes really isn't short, but for us it is at this point.
At least on average.
At least since for a while. It's been a while since we've had one this short.
Since Avatar.
Ever since we started talking about Avatar. Well, now we're talking about BoJack, but that's,
that takes a while too. Long. Yeah. What was the last one, like hour and a half, hour and 45?
I think so. I don't remember. I haven't even edited it yet, so.
Right.
Yeah, just, anyways, so thank you for listening to the WABAN podcast. There are multiple places you are able to listen to it on. You can listen to the podcast on my YouTube channel, which is Nim TV. That's NIMTV. There's video versions of it there, and you can also listen to it on multiple different audio platforms. That includes Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So if you search WABAN on any of those, you should be able to find it. So whatever platform works best for you. And you can expect new episodes of WABAN to be released every single Saturday at noon Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, that's when we do it. Thank you for listening. I hope you join us again next week, or listen to other ones if you haven't listened to older ones yet. Thank you for listening. I've been Nim.
I'm the goodest boy. Hope you have a good day.
Goodbye.